Heart fans, welcome to the 2024-2025 Heart Women's Wrestling Media Day. I'm your host, Tony Higger with I Wrestle. Next up, we chat with Dickinson State University head coach Tyson Springer and student athlete Jenna Gearhart. Coach Jenna, thanks for joining us here on Media Day. First whistle blows pretty soon.
Yeah, next Friday versus Waldorf, Iowa. So we're excited to get going. We have a dual Friday and then that tournament Saturday.
Awesome, coach. Well, this is year two. Is your program coming up? How would you assess your program after year one? And what are some expectations here in year two for you?
Yeah, like year one, like we talked about last year. I mean, we didn't really have much expectation for the most part. It was just kind of throw a team together because we started the program after January, so we had a couple months to recruit, and we brought in about 20 girls. So it was nice to we had a decent year, 5-1 in duels, which was great, and got a national qualifier. But you always want more. I'm kind of greedy like that. So like you want a little bit more, win stuff like that. And one of our better wrestlers last year got hurt right before the national qualifier. That Kylie Hubby, who was ranked 7th this year to start the year off. So that was kind of a bummer. But like our expectations this year, like we had a whole year recruiting, but we're still pretty much freshmen and sophomores. We only have, a couple transfers and like maybe 4 juniors overall. So I mean, we're still super young, but I mean, our expectations we're no longer the new team. So like, we've had some experience in last year, and then our expectations this year is to, get some more kids to the national tournament. And we started the year off, I think, with 4 girls ranked in the top 20. So which is great to see, but we want to see girls in the top 10 and then climb that ranking spot. And we have some good competition. We changed our schedule up a little bit more this year. So we're excited to kind of see how that goes and just kind of see what direction the season goes.
What was the schedule change? What did you kind of assess that you needed and why, I guess, to change?
We just needed more competition. We're kind of on an island here in North Dakota, so we have to travel quite a far when it goes to our competition. So, picking up a Shadron duel and then those Beaver Bash duels, we'll pick up, 4 more duels there. We did it last year, but I think there'll be some new teams this year, like Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a couple B2 schools. And then we picked up that Grandview Open. And then and then we have a double duel with another duel with Dakota Wesleyan. So just trying to get more competition. I think we have about 10 duels on our schedule and 3 tournaments. So just trying to get our kids more competition. So I think that's the biggest thing. Last year we had 6 duels and a couple tournaments, so we didn't really compete a ton, I felt like. So this year is just kind of getting our kids more mat time.
Coach, why don't you introduce Jenna and why she's next to you and why she's important to your program?
Yeah, we're really lucky. Jenna transferred in from Jamestown University this fall. So and she's just a hard worker. She came in right away and was named a team captain after preseason. So I mean, she's just one of the hardest workers in the room. So and I think that's something huge for our younger kids to see. Coming in as a transfer too. You're kind of been on another program for a couple of years, and our team is pretty new, so like you don't know what to expect. And I think she's kind of was a little bit, like you said, you had another program for 2 years and you jump into another team. We had 40 kids to start the year off, which was great. So I think just seeing her step up to that role right off the bat and help with our younger kids is a huge thing for us in our program to get some of those kids that have been in college wrestling for a couple of years and get those younger kids to kind of see what direction we need to go and how we need to, maintain practices and how we need to carry ourselves and stuff like that.
Jenna, I mean, walking into a program and you're named the captain, maybe a little pressure there. Maybe it's just gives you some extra motivation, right? And with women's wrestling, it started every single individual. I feel like it's different. It's either younger or they started really late. How did you get into the sport, and what do you enjoy about the sport of wrestling the most?
So how I got into wrestling was watching my brothers, and I was like, oh, I want to try that. And I didn't see very many girls. So then I went to a club, and then they sent me to the high school. And my first tournament was their qualifier to get into state. And then I won my first match against a guy, and I was like, oh, I love this. And then since then, I quit basketball and I've been wrestling, and wrestling's really been a big part of my life. It's taught me to be a hard worker. Know there's gonna be some mentally challenging situations I'm gonna have to deal with, and physical situations I'm gonna have to deal with. It's just overall has making me developed me into who I am today.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. It's the fastest growing sport for a reason. I think once we can get girls out for it, though, they realize just what you just realized, right? Of what it teaches you on and off the mat. So, coach, hearing her, talk about just herself, and obviously you've got a young program, which you mentioned. how do you shape like a leadership culture, and how do you get more people like Jenna to take that leadership role?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely tough because, like you said, last year was like the blind leading the blind because we didn't really have any leadership for the most part. Kylie Hubby was our most experienced wrestler, and she was tough. I mean, a couple time Fargo finals and stuff. So like she'd been to some high level stuff, but most of our girls just started wrestling in high school, so we didn't have a lot of depth when it came to like what to expect. So just bringing in, like I said, we got a couple transfers. That Dependito out of Life, and then her from Jamestown, and then Kylie, and then we got a girl out of Nigeria. So we just needed some older kids, I think, to really help those younger kids to kind of show them what direction they need to go. And it just takes time. Like we're not in a hurry. Like you said, when we started this program, our goal wasn't to, we want to win all the time, but like our goal was to, year 3, year 4, year 5, really start making noise. And it's just keep, getting these kids to buy into it. I think we had 20 kids last year. We brought back 12 from the team from the previous year. So just getting those girls to stay with it and stay together. And each year we expect a little bit more from them. Each year we expect a little more. And then after, year 4, year 5, your kids are graduating, kids are coming in, and the program's kind of been established, and that those expectations have been set. So I think it's just, it just takes time to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Jenna, is there with a program like Dickinson State and trying to put your name on a board that hasn't been there, right? Is there a sense of like um trailblazer? Is there a sense of like trying to make history? Is that even on your radar of like future down the road when you're 30, 40 years old, thinking like I was one of the first ones to be in, an All-American or whatever it may be. But ultimately, creating a foundation for the future of Dickinson State is super important, right?
Yeah, I'm so excited being on a team that is very new with a bunch of girls and a lot of practice partners. And that is definitely one of my goals is to get my name on that board. And that would be a great thing to look back at and putting in the extra work now and then having that to look back on would be great. Yeah.
Um, Obviously we've got Jenna here, and what are some of the other wrestlers that you think could make a big impact on the year? You got a big squad, but is there 3 or 4 or 5 of them maybe you can just say, right away just the way they're working out that they're going to make an impact on the heart, in the heart conference and nationally?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was just going over the rankings the other day. Just in our heart conference alone, I think 3 or 4 teams are in the top 7. I mean, it's a meat grinder in our conference. But we definitely have some kids, like Jenna at 110, and then Dependito that transfer, and then we got that Jamoka Adekoye out of Nigeria. And so you've seen a lot of Nigerians the last couple of years have a lot of success in America. So I mean, she's a dog. She's tough. So we expect a lot of things out of her. But she doesn't have a lot of. She's only had international experience. So like we'll see, her first weekend, she'll have 3 or 4 girls maybe in the top 10 that are ranked. So we'll have a pretty good idea kind of where she sets after that. And then Goobler, who's ranked top 20 right now, who placed at that tournament last year, then got hurt, so she had the red shirt the rest of the year. So I think she's one that could come in if she stays healthy. She's one that I think can do really well on the national level. And obviously Kylie Hubby at 60. I mean, she's right there. She just needs to stay healthy. She's a little bit older, so like it doesn't get easier in the sport the older you get. So she's a little bit, maybe 22 years old. So she's been around the sport for, quite a while. So for her is just staying healthy, I think. And I think she's one we definitely can put on the podium. And a few other girls, I think if they work hard enough, like you said, Jenna's a dog in the room. She works her butt off, and just having her to work out with those younger kids. We got quite a few kids at 110, 117, 124. So just having people in the room that can really push those kids is a huge thing for our younger kids to kind of, see where they need to get to. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to see, where we finish.
Hey, Coach, bringing in a Nigerian wrestler. We have seen a lot of international wrestlers. I would say primarily in women's wrestling. What do you think is kind of been how are we attracting international wrestlers over here? Is it because of freestyle? Is it the opportunity to, maybe get a scholarship and get your school paid for? What do you think has been the difference for the heart and NIA opportunities?
I mean, I think like just like you said, it's an opportunity. Some of these other countries, they're not super wealthy countries. They come from, they struggle a lot, and they come to America, and we can put them up in dorms, and we can feed them on a regular basis, and we can travel. And most of those kids are only going to like maybe a couple competitions a year and stuff like that. So giving them an opportunity to get an education and see, competition all over the country. And just, we live in the greatest country in the world. So like being a part of this country, like being a safe country and getting kids over here. I think that's just a huge part of getting those foreign kids over here. And like you said, women's wrestling is it's humongous. It's taken off everywhere. So I mean, the best places to go, all those other teams on the men's side, they come to train in America all the time. We have some of the best men and women in the country, and you see our world level teams like at the Olympics this year, we freaking did awesome. So I mean, just our women's wrestling is just taken off, and I think other countries kind of see that, and they're like, oh man, we want a piece of that. And what are they doing over in America that I think that we can get better at. So I think just being this opportunities and just a chance for kids to get better.
Jenna, you didn't have to travel as far as she did from Nigeria to find this program. North
Yeah.
Dakota, North Dakota, it's your home state. Um, did you ever think when you started wrestling that you would be competing, at Dickinson State and competing in your home state in the collegiate level?
I've always wanted to stay in North Dakota, local to all my fans. Um, But actually, before I went to Jamestown, I toured here with my brother. He was looking at a place to wrestle, and I really liked it, but they didn't have a women's program. And then I went to Jamestown, didn't feel right. And then I was a little unhappy still. And then I found out, like, oh, they have a girls' team now. And I saw how well they were growing and how much work the coaches were putting into their girls. And I was like, I'm transferring. I gotta go there for my last 2 years. And I'm enjoying it. I feel a lot more at home here. Mm.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy for you. And on behalf of the Heart, we wish you guys the best of luck this season. And hopefully, you'll grow on year one. I think your guys' approach to, we're talking about 3-4 years down the line, but then the day, the other competition doesn't care if you're growing, right? So, we got to
Exactly.
compete, and the Heart of Conference does not care. The other teams definitely don't care, and they're I applaud you guys for going out and seeking that competition. So, I'll see you guys at the Grandview Open actually. So, excited for that. See what your guys' program represents. So, appreciate you guys coming join us here for the Heart Wrestling Media Day, and good luck on the season.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.